young people watching us now and thinking like, what can I do to, be part of this story? Like, can I change my field? So what do you recommend to young people for the future of Metaverse and surrounding industries? Like, how can we be part of it?
Yeah. So right now, our team is not only architects and designers, but we also have artists, creatives, and technologists on board. And it's
so
really...
eventually you have to change.
It's not about changing, but it's more about adapting. Like, as an architect, we have a certain workflow in the physical realm that we're accustomed to. And we go from planning to execution, understanding the location, human behavior, the culture, and creating a space that fits the person and the client and the project. So, being said that, the most important thing is, what do we do with that workflow? How can we adapt to us being meta architects? And it's very simple, actually. Because of that workflow, we already have the fundamentals of creating a space. And through that, we're able to push the limitations even further because of our creativity, our understanding of what is needed from the client perspective, and adding more layers to this to enrich the content even further. However, because we've been doing this for almost 2.5 3 years, we're able to understand that the constraints are different. Yes, we're able to adapt to these constraints. As I said before, it's more related to performance. It's more related to file size, to texturing, to materiality, to the environment, to the lighting. So you don't only think of it as a rendered image to show the client, but you think of it as a whole 360 experience that you need to focus on the detailing as much as you can. As architects, we used to present our concepts very briefly through images. And sometimes that would create miscommunications as well. And because of this, today, having a 3D virtual experience is important as much as it is for us, but it's also for the client. And the client will be able to see the project, foresee it, how it's going to look like, whether it being in a virtual setting or it being in the physical world, understand the spaces through that spatial environment, being embedded and immersed in the space, and in going from one space to the other to fully understand, okay, this is the layout, and I don't like this material, please change it. Now, this would allow in the physical realm, like if we're actually thinking of this as a project that we're going to execute in reality, we're able to eliminate a lot of factors that could save cost and could save time for the contractors, for real estate agents, for a lot of industries as well. And if we take it into, in this format, again, going back to adaptability, it's so important that you, as John, in different industry, you're able to adapt easily to the metaverse. You're able to add that advertisement, the creativeness, the production quality to the metaverse to make this even more immersive, because at the end of the day, everything is about information. And having multi-layered information on top of each other, whether us being architects or you being a creative agent or someone else being a retailer, is really important.
And also, as architects, we are not replicating the physical life in the metaverse, and that's how actually that's one of the most important things that ILLUSORR is not.
Yes.
That was my next
question. A lot of platforms today, with all due respect, obviously, it's a very fast industry. So a lot of us tend to be really into the idea of, okay, let's be the first people to put a footprint out there. And I think it's good and it's bad. It's positive and negative. Yeah. And the reason for that is having all of this content as metaverse content on the web today is sending somewhat the wrong image for a lot of people. That, oh my God, it's a cartoonish, it's a gaming sort of experience, or it's too serious, I cannot do anything with it, the tools are not You cannot really adapt to the tools as much as you want. So the idea is that having different methods of showcasing ILLUSORR is very important to us. And when we say we're not replicating reality, meaning that, for example, we don't need a floor, or we don't need a wall, or we don't need a ceiling. But at the same time, humans are accustomed to seeing these stuff. So it's like if I was in a virtual setting and I was walking on a transparent floor, I'll feel so nauseous. So at the end of the day, I would want to be, I want to have a solid floor. But adding an additional layer to it, a UI element to it, elevates that experience. And for example, you could potentially not have walls at all. It could be even floating in space.
For example, for one project, we disabled walking and we made everyone is flying. Avatars can only fly, and it was part of our brief. And it was such a fun project because then you are really able to experience, after 10 minutes, you are not able to walk even with your avatar. How do you feel? And the feeling that you have is almost similar, like you're really flying, although it's not even VR, you're in a web platform. So these kind of things that we are doing. And also on a personal note, when we first met with Sara, almost 7 years, when we were living in London, doing our masters there, we were talking about exactly the same thing, like the future of the industry and how we can really implement the ideas in the virtual world. And now I think we're very happy that the technology right now what we have is allowing us to execute these visions.